Hello, everyone, and thank you. I messed up the intro there. Hello,
Keep it.
everyone, and welcome to episode 242 of the High Sensitivity Podcast, and thank you for listening. If it's your first time here, we talk about video game and movie news as well as we watched or played over the week. My name is Barry, along with my fellow Death Squad.
My name is Craig, aka Sergeant Death.
My name is also Craig. Where does Death Squad come from?
I think it was from Warhammer.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I totally forgot. It's been a minute.
Well, the only reason I made that reference is because you know what's also dead? The news. The news is just
Yeah.
it's not alive.
It's pretty dead.
Yeah, we are quite slow. It's the slow season for most games as we start to ramp up some announcements. So to get to that, kind of the biggest one, at least in my eyes, is we do have Pokemon Day, which is coming the 27th on a Thursday this week. Speculative and rumors and leaks are coming out about what's going to be shown. We will probably see Pokemon Legends ZA, but there is also talks of two different Pokemon versions that are going to be re-releasing the old games, kind of like a Super Mario collection, if you will. They're talking about how one version will have, let's say, for example, Fire Red, Silver, and Ruby, and then the other one will have Leaf Green, Gold. And Sapphire. Like,
That'd be
like
cool.
kind of how they usually do it. And then on the third thing is that if you buy the bundle, you will get a code for Pokemon Emerald, according to these leaks. So I think that's an interesting premise. You know, a lot of people have been wondering when we are going to be getting those classic games to Nintendo Switch Online. I think this makes a lot more sense. And to be honest, like, Pokemon knows how much those old games are emulated and how many people are just, playing them for free. Why not get them to pay for them? So,
do you think Nintendo.
Do you think they're remastered, or do you think they're just thrown up?
I think they'd be pretty much the same.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I would imagine too. I'm trying to think. I mean, the Mario collection was not remastered.
Correct.
No, it wasn't.
It was just, here you go. Have those.
Still loved it.
Side note, I don't know if you guys have checked that, but that is worth a ton right now.
Is it?
I don't know if you guys still have your copies, but it's
I do.
I do too, but it's well over $100 now.
Wow.
Yep.
Glad we snagged those.
It's true.
But how much do you guys think these games would cost?
I mean, you said they're saying 3 games.
3 games on each version.
So how much one version would cost? Probably
$60 each. 120 for the one, 120 for the bundle, maybe 110.
And I was going to say, a bundle collection probably is 110, but I'm probably thinking 60. I don't know. We don't really see Switch games go astronomically high like we would in terms of like PlayStation games,
Yeah.
Yeah, my thinking is they're going to do something similar to what they did with the 3DS when we had Gold, Silver, Yellow, Blue, and Crystal came out. I personally think they're going to be 40, and
for 3.
40. Well, 40 for one
per version.
And then I think it may be 90 if because of that Emerald code in the other one.
Good
they
guess.
Usually do give away something like in those double packs. A lot of the times it's like stupid 100 Pokeballs that are useless by the time you get to the 4th gym because you already have Ultra Balls.
Right.
I just think it's a fun thing. I'm excited for Pokemon Day. I want to see different stuff other than Pokemon. I want to see them like go back to the old days when we had like Pokemon Ranger, a new mystery dungeon game would be cool. I can't tell you how much I revere those Pokemon Coliseum and Pokemon XD Gale to Darkness games. They were just so much of these fun switch ups when it comes to the Pokemon games that I think personally, if you give me a remaster of those, I would probably pay I'd pay $70 if they were to give out or get those games. But it's gonna be up to Pokemon to do so.
Am I crazy in thinking that the new Pokemon game coming out that they really haven't shown anything or announced really, they're not going to show because they would wait until the actual Switch 2 big thing?
So that's personally what I thought, but then I
Yeah.
also figured I don't think Pokemon ZA is going to be a Switch 2 exclusive game.
Okay.
I think
Okay.
in order for them to sell the most copies, because this Pokemon game is probably going to be the biggest one in a while,
Right.
in a long time. They took a year off of making or developing any new Pokemon game or re-releases, and on top of that, too, Pokemon Legends Arceus was received really well. And if this is like that, it's also going to be received very well.
Fair.
So wait, you're thinking that even in light of them releasing a console and this being one of the, I would say, console sellers, that they're actually not going to keep it console, like not keep it just specifically on the Switch 2? Barry, I like this claim. I want to go
Yeah.
into I want to go into the future to when we get more information on it.
Look,
Yeah.
I don't like it. I hope that they announce that there's some sort of like extra, like it's going to run better on the Switch too, but they can't guarantee that or anything. So it's one of those things where I just think Pokemon is going to look at it and they're going to be like, yeah, everyone is going to be fighting for Switch 2s, especially with the demand for them. So we're also going to release it on the original Switch.
I just
Yeah.
I love this take. Just seeing or just thinking that they could possibly do like a Microsoft Xbox, but with Pokemon, because I mean, obviously we know that they recently announced that they're not going to be keeping everything on as an Xbox exclusive anymore. So like this is, I love this take, Barry. I love this take, and I'm actually eager to see like how what the release is like, release window, everything. So
Yeah, but the last Pokemon game ran so poorly.
Oh, I absolutely agree. I 100%,
Yeah.
but they do not care.
They really don't. No. I just assumed this
Scarlet and
would be
Violet still sold.
like I maybe I'm just like jaded, but I pictured in my mind like the Switch 2 direct is like, here's Mario, 2, and then here's the new Pokemon looking all snazzy in 1080p, not 4K, 1080p. But I guess that's probably wishful thinking.
yeah, I don't know. We shall see.
I just personally think that I hope that they announce that there is a physical upgrade.
Yeah.
When you put that game on the Switch too. But I just think that Nintendo wants to maximize their profits, and the Switch 2 I think is going to be hard to get. I think it's going to be the same thing that happened with the PS5s and the Xbox
Mm-hmm.
Series X's during COVID times. I think it's going to be hard to get, and if you're not already on it, like if you make it an exclusive and people can't get the console, then they're kind of inhibiting themselves from selling more. So
Right.
that's my econ class 101. Welcome to economics.
There you go.
Right.
All right. So, and then just a couple other small things. Netflix is going to be producing or working on a Sifu film. I didn't think this game needed a film, but I don't know. The secret level Sifu thing I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But I don't know. You're gonna make a film off of, and I guess it makes sense. People like the Keanu Reeves and that type of genre when it comes to John Wick's, and I guess this works. In a way,
you're gonna have to
Yeah.
make them age as the movie
Yeah.
goes on, which will be interesting.
Yeah. They should take some notes from Secret Level.
Yeah.
In terms of how they want to deliver it. Does it say if it's live action or animated or in what you read, Barry? Interesting.
Nothing yet, huh?
I feel like
And
that's
lastly, just because this is, it was pretty much announced like last week, right before we taped. NetEase is laying off the Marvel Rivals Seattle team. Kind of crazy considering that Marvel Rivals is probably the biggest game right now. When it comes to player base and how much people are playing it. I know I'm playing it a lot, and it just feels like a scummy thing to do because based off of what we've seen, there was like we were told it's for organizational efforts where most likely the Seattle team was costing them money, and the Chinese company and everyone else at NetEase was like, well, we don't need this because the game is selling itself. We don't
Yeah.
need we don't need a team working on it that can be supported in Seattle. So I just feel like this was a really scummy move on NetEase's part when your game is at its height of popularity right now and it's not going to be stopping anytime soon. It's a
Yeah.
sleazy thing to do.
Barry, I'm glad that you mentioned that and that you probably got more information than I did because like when I first saw whatever article I read first about it, I thought that they were laying off like the main team. And
Yep.
then I looked into it and like the Seattle team, I think it's like 6 or 7 people, which is still scummy. It doesn't matter how many people get laid off. It's still a bad thing, but
Yep.
that they provided, and correct me if I'm wrong, but like supplemental work to it. Like I thought that they in the height were like we're cutting like the main team, but again, that doesn't take away from it. But I was quite startled by the headlines, and I encourage everybody to, when you read an article, make sure to read the article. Don't just look at the headline because, like, you know how the headlines are. They're trying to grab you, and it says
Yep.
just like fires team, and you're like, what?
Nobody is safe. Like if the biggest game in the world right now is laying off people, then yeah, no game company's safe.
Right.
That's all I got for news, though.
All right. I got a couple, nothing too crazy. We are coming up on the 20th anniversary of God of War, which will be March 22nd. And supposedly we have some God of War remasters coming with that. From what I read too, there's everybody's saying different things. The biggest one I'm hearing is Shadow dropped on that day on like PlayStation Plus, but we'll see. But looks like it'd probably be 1 and 2, which I just played through 1 again, so I would love
Right.
to see that remastered.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd buy it regardless, I think. I'm pretty sure I
Oh
would.
yeah.
60-70 bucks for 1 and 2. Are you down?
Yeah.
I mean, think of the whatever we all consider individually the worst God of War. That
Mhm.
God of War is still fantastic. Like,
Yeah, I don't know which one I would consider the worst. They're all maybe, I don't know. I would have said 1, but
that's
now
hard.
that I play it, I don't think so. The one on PSP was phenomenal.
Hmm.
Chains of Olympus.
Yeah, Chains of Olympus was great. I think most people say 3, but I really liked 3. That was PS3. Maybe 2? I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't think
No,
there is a bad game.
yeah. No, I don't think there is either.
I don't think there
Hmm.
is either. Give me
Um,
all the God of War.
yeah, give me all of them. And then another one here that this one's right up my alley, but this started with Tyshawn Jones was on an episode of the 900 Club, which is a podcast for skateboarding, and let drop that there was a Tony Hawk game coming out of nowhere, which made everybody go, "Wait, hold on, what?" He was in the 1 and 2 remaster when that came out. He was a new skater that was added, and then on top of that, we did have a date show up in the new Call of Duty DLC. There's a sign on a wall for March 4th. And then people broke down the source code, and it specifically says Tony Hawk 3 and 4. So it looks like we're getting that 3 and 4 remaster, just like we got 1 and 2. Tony Hawk 3 is another one that I just played through recently. So I am on board with that 100%. And again, this looks like something that is being mentioned as being shadow dropped on Game Pass, like right away.
That's
so
fun.
I'm all down for that. I don't know. I love obviously Tony Hawk. I don't know how much 3 and 4 you guys played, but those are phenomenal games as well.
I played less of 3, but 4 I jumped back in, so that's fantastic to hear.
4 was the first one with online play, which was the first game that made me run a Ethernet cable to my PlayStation 2 and do dial up to play Tony Hawk 4 online. So I have a lot of memories with that. So that's not that far off. That's like next week.
Yeah, for
so
real.
we'll see what happens there. And then lastly here, I don't know what kind of news you want to call it, but GameStop is planning to sell off its French and Canada outlets. At the same time, their wonderful CEO that we all love was on Twitter screaming about wokeness and all that good stuff. I don't shop at GameStop anymore, to be honest. I don't really go in there, but it seems like a good time to not, right? Especially with everything else going on, their fiasco handling of Pokemon cards, and it always surprises me that they're that like even our local one is still around. I don't know. I feel like it should have been closed up a while ago, but that would also be a
Right.
sad day. But yeah, do you guys still shop at GameStop? Barry?
I guess my thing is I still go in there from time to time, but it's because for the most part I do Pokemon cards, but because
Sure.
they can't keep Pokemon cards in stock right now, there's no point in really going in. I actually went in the other day, but it's because I have a pro membership,
Okay.
and the two things that it offers me is $5 off like a physical item, and secondly, you get a percentage off of digital currency. So why would I buy it directly from my wallet if I can get the currency from GameStop and
Sure.
save money? I guess is my thinking there.
Yeah,
So
that makes
that's
sense.
really the only reason.
Yeah, it
I went
does.
in. This last week was the first time I'd went in a long time.
Every time I go in there, it's just the game section is smaller and smaller. Yeah. It's like I don't understand how you're making any money whatsoever.
Right.
But yeah, that was the last one I had.
All right, I only have a couple. Speaking of NetEase, I thought you would find this funny, Barry, because you play Marvel Rivals more than any of us. But
Yeah.
they're in the beginning. Yeah, in the beginning, the game was reportedly almost canceled. Directly, and this is after it was released, but those claims were denied. But one thing that I found is that the CEO William Ding of NetEase actually did not want to originally pay Disney for the licenses to use those characters. Instead, he was
to pay Disney.
right, and he instead was suggesting that they replace the Marvel Rivals characters or the Marvel characters with their own designs. And I read that and I was just trying to think how differently this game would have been received. Like if you go online right now, any character drop for Marvel Rivals, like upcoming character drop, I guarantee you has at least 1 million views.
Yeah,
which is funny when you think about it. Just like a simple character drop of like the to come character thing, whatever, it has millions of views, and it could have just not been as successful, had they decided to go through with that route instead of paying Disney just to use those licensed characters.
Do you think it would have been successful if it was just generic characters?
Nope.
No.
And they're also simping the hell out of these costumes.
Yeah,
they are. But at least I will say the costumes are expensive, but it is not as bad as some other places.
Sure.
The main thing, and we saw it, the only reason Overwatch went over as good as it did is because it was kind of a fun take on a team shooter, but it was also made by Blizzard. Blizzard makes good games, at least at the time. And we saw it with I think 2K made a game that was a hero shooter as well that was very much
Battleborn.
It got canceled right away. Yeah, Battleborn.
right.
Mm-hmm.
So it was we've seen hero shooters that don't have anything going for them or any sort of brand connected to them. It just doesn't go over well.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so it was Battleborn. Yeah, that was
Battleborn.
Yeah, that was a game.
We saw it with Concord. We saw it with Final Combat. There are so many of these games that
Foam Stars.
Foam Stars. Game of the year. Game of the year.
Yeah. So it's just the reason this game is as popular as it is because of having that Marvel tag to it.
Yep.
So you got people who are nerds and people who are interested slightly in games, but more interested in Marvel was yeah, this looks like fun. And here we are.
Right. And here we are. Oh my God, Battleborn. Not to be confused with Bloodborne or Battletoads.
True.
The next piece of news is for Craig because I saw this and I thought of you because you reported this the most on this podcast. But Dr. Disrespect recently came out on X, and I'm going to read slightly what his post is, not all of it. But although things have been settled, Twitch should do the right thing and correct their mistake of permanently banning the doc by reinstating the channel. We should have never been banned in the first place. So he's trying to get back on Twitch.
Yeah.
I don't know how I don't think Twitch would make that decision of doing something like that, but it's just kind of funny seeing Dr. Disrespect do that. as somebody who did watch his channel for a time before all this stuff went down, there was a summer where that's all my wife and I were watching just for the Call of Duty content specifically. It's just I don't know how far he has fallen.
Yeah, I don't. It's interesting because like all that stuff happened, right? He's demonetized on YouTube. Then he goes to Rumble, right? And tries to get everybody to go over to Rumble. And everybody's like, nah, I ain't going over to Rumble. So he sticks with YouTube, but he's not monetized. Now he's monetized on YouTube again. People are starting to play with him on stream again. So it's almost like it's almost back to normal. And I know he would never admit it because he had a big deal with Rumble, but you got to think he would much rather be back on Twitch than Rumble.
Right.
He would have way more viewers. People are not paying for Rumble. I'm sorry, like I've never even went on that website ever. But I get why he would want to. I don't see it though. I think they're going to have a very firm stance on permanent ban for him.
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely. And I don't know, you see it all the time with these content creators where like they have this something big like this, they go away for a bit and then they slowly creep back. They creep back and then they're not monetized, then they creep back and they are monetized, then they try to get back on every platform. It's just I
They
don't know.
hope everybody forgets. Or,
Yeah.
or they're just like, oh, it was in this instance, it was solved out of court. So I'm not guilty, which is not what that means, but
Exactly.
yeah.
So all right, so I got something for Barry. I had something for Craig. The next bit of news is for me. George R.R. Martin at the recent IGN Fan Fest 2025 hinted at there possibly being an Elden Ring movie coming.
Sure.
He dodged the Elden Ring 2 question because people are not considering Night Rain or the one coming out to be Elden Ring 2, but he did say we can't say too much about it, but there is talk about making a movie out of Elden Ring. I don't know how big of a fan you guys are of the Game of Thrones book series. I read them all, and I, like every other person who enjoyed those books, have been waiting for Winds of Winter for about over a decade. So I don't really trust anything George R.R. Martin says in terms of there will be something in the future, but it seems like a pretty, I don't want to say logical step, but a known step to take Elden Ring and somehow try to just like throw up a movie out of it.
I don't think
Yeah.
you're gonna get anything from this man anymore.
I don't either. Yep, I agree. But
Barry,
why would you want it? Like, I don't know. Want an Elden Ring movie?
I love Elden Ring. I've put 150 hours into the base game, and I don't know. I don't think I want a movie out of it. Yeah. Not personally.
Yeah. It's like a Lord of the Rings movie, right?
Yeah. But I do like, it's funny. My wife actually told me this because we were talking about games that she would want to play, but would be something that she is too annoying, like hard games. So like Lies of P, my wife would love to play Lies of P front to back, but the difficulty she knows would eventually annoy her and make her stop. But Elden Ring.
Yeah.
So like maybe for somebody like that doesn't want to play the game, but like actually wants to see the world itself, maybe. But I don't know how big of a demographic that is.
Yeah, it's fair.
And then this last one is a feel-good story. Not feel-good, but I laughed kind of to myself at Paul Rudd's taste here. Paul Rudd was recently interviewed and asked what his top 2 MCU movies were in the Marvel universe. I don't know. I feel like maybe I should stop and tell you guys to maybe guess and maybe think what
Ant-Man
they are.
And Ant-Man 2.
They're not Ant-Man. They're not Ant-Man.
Fair. Can't pick his own.
Endgame and Winter Soldier.
It's good guesses.
It's good guesses. You're right with one of them, Barry. One of them is Winter Soldier. The other one is Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah.
That's a fair pick.
Yeah.
That's a fair pick, but that's a nice pick. That makes me think he watches the movies. I mean, those are 2 highly acclaimed.
Yeah, they are.
Movies, and they're not the studio answer where it's Ant-Man and Ant-Man. They're not maybe the larger casted, budgeted ones of saying like maybe any of the Avengers ones. Like he picked 2 movies about a specific hero. Like, I don't know. I thought that was funny when I read it. Another reason to love Paul Rudd. And that's all the news I had.
All right, so as we get into games this week, we did talk about the game Funk that we're getting in. You did. I imagine you guys did play Avowed.
Yep.
In anticipation of being one person who didn't play Avowed, I played Warhammer 40,000 Rogue Trader.
I downloaded that, but I did not try it yet. Yeah, I played Avowed. I started a new character in Dark Souls 3 for some reason. I don't know. And then
Dark Souls, man.
Yeah, I don't know. I just keep like trying different things. And then in my PS2 catalog, I did finish the very first Need for Speed Underground.
Okay. While I was waiting for new games to come out this week, I did the demo for Urban Myth Dissolution Center, which I'll talk about. I did play Avowed as well, a good amount of Avowed. And when it came out on Friday, I did start Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii.
Did not get mine yet. Hence why I did not play.
Darn. Darn.
All right, so we have quite a range of tastes here.
Yeah, we do.
Here, I'll go into Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader. I want to say the main reason I tried this was because of Space Marine 2 and how much I enjoyed that. Craig, I'm interested to see if you get into this game. I am having a really hard time.
Okay.
Liking this game. And I think it's because for me, it just loves to hear itself talk. That is my issue.
Persona?
And it's not even it's like that, but it's also the fact that like they're talking in that high mighty English type of way, so people are just like over explaining and using too many words. I can see why people like this because of like it's almost like a D&D campaign, but it's set in the Warhammer universe. I really liked Solasta, and I thought that I would like this because it's in the same sphere. I probably should just do Solasta 2 instead. But I just run into the fact that this doesn't put me this doesn't make me a 11-foot mechanized warrior. The game starts you off as a you're kind of put on this ship and you don't know why, and then you find out why, and then you're betrayed sort of deal here. So it's very much it's very similar to like a D&D campaign or any type of regular show. But I actually don't find the combat that uninteresting. It is space tile. So much like Fire Emblem, you're moving characters around and then you're shooting stuff. I like that, but the game just talks too much for me. And it doesn't really have also one of the things, it doesn't have like a waypoint. So every time I have to go somewhere, I'm just kind of guessing where I have to go. Luckily, I've been getting lucky with wherever I'm supposed to be going with this stuff. The game does say that what you say and the decisions you make will matter. So I do kind of like that as well in the narrative department. But just overall, I just don't know I'm going to pick this game back up because I'm just tired of hearing them talk.
I was mashing through Space Marine too because I was like, oh my god, shut up.
See, Space Marine, I guess, is like a little bit better for me because it's a bit more cinematic.
Sure.
Where in this one, it's just an over the head screen while little character portraits are saying what's going on.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not even like you're interested or an active participant in this until you pick a dialogue, for example.
Yeah, I didn't have much hope for it. It was on Game Pass, so I was like, let me download it. I'll at least try it. I don't anticipate sticking with it, but
right,
I'll give it a shot. The usual.
The usual.
Yeah. Anything else, Barry?
No. It's Marvel Rivals, and that.
Yes.
I keep seeing you playing Marvel Rivals.
I'm on the competitive ladder. I'm trying.
Ooh, on that grind. You're on that grind.
I've been on that Apex grind.
Yeah, I am gonna try playing Avowed this week though. I just I didn't want to get into Avowed because I knew you guys were gonna be playing it, so you guys have opinions. Rogue Trader, I wasn't sure if anybody was gonna try.
That's a good call.
Who's gonna give it the good old college try? It was gonna be me.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Greg.
Let me start with the demo. Urban Myth Dissolution Center. You guys are like me. You're on Steam and you're scrolling around, and eventually a couple of images or a collection of images catches your eye. That's what this game did
It
for
sounds
me.
like it was an amalgamation of words that you
Yeah, it
Yeah,
does.
came
I
from.
have to keep looking at the screen with the game up so I say it right, you know? So Urban Myth Dissolution Center is essentially a game. You play a girl named Azami. Azami is uh I guess is connected to the spirits, or she's sensitive to spirits. And she joins this Urban Myth Dissolution Center with a crazed individual at the helm who they essentially go around and they dispel or confirm urban myths. And it's a very interesting type of game. It looks like the game and the visuals look like it could be played on like a Game Boy Advance or something like that. It's not scary at all. They have somewhat disturbing images from time to time, and that's supposed to be like the jump scare. But there's a lot of detective work that goes in the game. You have to essentially you do a combination of interviewing the people who saw the urban myth specifically. You go on social media and you see if anybody's talking about it, and you kind of cross reference and find whether somebody actually saw something or whether somebody's leaking footage. And then you eventually decide and figure out which urban myth it is. um, I don't know. I think there's a reason for both of you to play this game, or at least look at the trailer and maybe decide whether it's right for you or not. Because I like that they take urban myths from different um, ethnicities, backgrounds, countries, like all types of things. And I didn't get too far in it, but I had a fun time with it. It was really it was different. It didn't rely on actual scares, but it did rely on a pretty bopping soundtrack while you're doing the investigating, and some gradually unnerving, whatever,
Unnerving. Yeah.
unnerving, gradually unnerving plot lines. So that one's that. I think I feel like I'd wait for a sale to buy it. I don't know if it's not an expensive game. I think it's like 15 or 20, but I think I'd still wait for like that. It's a drop. You know how it feels when it drops below $10, like that kind of thing.
Steam summer sale.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Steam summer sale. What is that, tomorrow or whatever? Or
Spring summer sale. Yeah.
spring summer sale.
Yep.
But that's that one. I mean, I could go right into Like a Dragon and we
Yeah.
could talk
Yeah. Let
about
me
your
know.
game and then Avowed. All right.
I heard it's good.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's super good. It's super good. I laugh to myself every time I drive that ship because Skull and Bones got delayed and delayed and delayed and could not create a successful pirate related game. And they just took literally last year's game and added what essentially it's a standalone game, but it's like it's DLC from a different character. Um, the fact that they took a fan favorite like Goro, who everybody will remember his quirkiness from previous. He wakes up without his memory. There's a kid that saves him on an island. This kid, I mean, he's got all the tropes. He's got an alcoholic dad. He has asthma, and everybody picks on him, and all of those things. And what I like about this game is they took. I don't know if this ruined. I mean, they showed it in the trailer. You go back to Hawaii, Craig. Like you're
Yep.
in Honolulu again. The whole map's there, and you spend about 30%, maybe 40% at sea, at least from what I've played, and then you spend the other 60%. I'll just go with 40%, and then you spend the other 60% on land. And I think it's just the perfect hodgepodge of what somebody who likes these games wants. You know, you don't start out in Honolulu. You probably get in about 2 or 3 hours, but before that, you travel to some other locations that are new. And I don't know how they do it, man. Like this game, Infinite Wealth came out this time last year, and they
Yep.
all of a sudden just came out with this one. But the naval battles are fun. They don't feel repetitive yet. There's a crap ton of treasure that you go and find. Every island or whatever has treasure. And when you're in the naval sense, there's lighthouses that serve as fast travel points in the water, so you don't get like too like I have to get from here to here and relying on the speed of the sea kind of thing. But this game is ridiculously fun, and it does not take itself seriously like some other games from the series may. I mean, your ship has your ship has machine guns on it, man. It has rocket propulsion beneath it. It's just the kind of fun I want to have fun game. It has all the mini games that you would think. It's got their version of Crazy Taxi with the delivery service. There's some new mini games, a whole new area that has a crap ton of them. You can do them if you want. It's everything you want. It's everything you want from Like a Dragon. I think it is appropriately reviewed. I don't think it's going to be game of the year.
That's fair.
But I don't think I'll like it more than Infinite Wealth either. But this one's supposed to be a lot shorter. Like I cheated and I looked up how long this game is. This game's like 10 hours if you do the story, 20 if you actually try to complete it. It's not supposed to be some like blockbuster. Infinite Wealth took me 100 hours.
Yep.
And I don't think this is going to do it, but I recommend it to somebody returning to the series. If you haven't finished Infinite Wealth, they do a little quick wrap up. The last thing I'll say is the story that they created for Infinite Wealth and Pirate Yakuza is actually a pretty good story. You know, it centers around multiple government conspiracies with corporations, environmental issues, abuse and cult-like behavior. You know, there's a bunch of different things that they just kind of slap a lighthearted group of characters over and then go deep when they want to. And then they go back out with the character reactions. But just like every other Like a Dragon, Yakuza, Lost Judgment, characters make the game. The environment's pretty spectacular, just running around Honolulu again. It's a fun time. I can't wait for you to start it, Craig.
Yeah, I know my time will be a little bit longer than that because I was watching reviews and they had like the arcade games and the Sega games that are inside of this. And like they showed all of them and I was like, oh my God, I know like all those games. So I know that like 10 to 20 hours of my time is going to be just those. And
Love
I
that.
do that every time a Yakuza game comes out. So
Yeah,
hopefully it shows up tomorrow and I can start playing it. But yeah, I'm super excited. And I
Oh,
heard like the combat's faster, which is good.
it is.
Yeah, like I'm down for that. A little bit
It is.
quicker.
It is. I was worried with there only being two stances, the Mad Dog and the Sea Dog, but they
Right.
actually they're quite fine. You know, they're quite fine.
Yeah. It could have been a DLC in all honesty.
Right. It could have been
But
a
whatever.
DLC. Did you pre-order it?
No.
The cool thing is pre-order, you get to have Ichiban
Oh, okay.
as part of your crew. So it's kind of funny. So like you have these moments where when you crash into the ship and you invade the ship. There's also people that you specifically place on your ship to man the cannons, do repairs, things like that. You can have Ichiban as that character, which is pretty sick as well.
Cool.
And then there was one last thing I wanted to tell you. They brought somebody back. Oh, they brought somebody back from the mini game you and I liked, the one where you have to clean up the island.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I won't tell you who, but they brought somebody from that into this. So
Okay. All right. So before Avowed, just real quick, Need for Speed Underground. I feel like every time I play a PS2 game, I'm like still holds up, but I'm sure I'm gonna get to games where I'm like doesn't hold up. I've been sticking to the hits, so once I get through the hits, I think it'll be a little bit iffy. But man, Need for Speed Underground, if we could get a remaster of that like now, that would be awesome. Because like I don't know what it is about that game. I liked the second one as well, but there's something about the first one and like the drip feed of every so many races you'll get a new, like front bumper or new, like spoiler or new vinyls or whatever. It just like keeps you going. Um, it doesn't look good anymore, but it's still fun to play. So if they could just like remaster that, I know it's been talked about a million times about Need for Speed Underground being remastered, but it would just be the easiest cash grab for them of all time. Like you wouldn't even have to do much. Use the Need for Speed engine you have now and just upload the races because Need for Speed Underground was not open world. It's just race to race to race. So I don't know. But as of playing it right now, I'm still enjoying it. But like a lot of times when you're driving, you have to like squint to see like what's coming up because it's so like blurry and just mushy looking. But yeah,
right.
that's good. Okay, so Avowed. I don't know. I really don't know what to say. Honestly, you guys know that like certain things make me like games and don't like games, and one of those things is inventory. Like I love Resident Evil inventory. I love the sounds. I like the way it is. I love Avowed inventory.
Yeah.
I like the way it feels. I like how you
Yep.
pick up items. I like it. I like equipping. For the first time in like probably my life, I decided to play as like mage, like spells.
Ooh.
Never
Okay.
done that before in my life, but I was like, I'm gonna try it. So I have like my wand and my book that I'm
Yeah.
like running around with. I think the combat feels a little too slow. Is that
Okay.
fair?
I would say so.
Just a little off.
I would say so. Even for the mage, because like I feel like you would
Yeah.
notice it more in melee.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a little slow.
And so much talking.
A lot of
And
talking.
my God, do I not care?
Yeah, I don't.
I don't care at all. I'm just like
Yeah.
mash, 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 mash. And another one, like before it came out, I watched like a ton of reviews, and there's always videos I watch that are like the things they wish they told you before you started playing Avowed, right? So I watched that and they're like, oh, the first thing you should do is like, go through the main story until you get 2 companions, because you get the first one very quickly. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do that. And the other one's like, make sure you break down your equipment because you're gonna need the materials to upgrade your like your weapons, because that's more important than levels, because there's only 20 levels in the
Yeah.
game. That's it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so I was like, okay, perfect. But my God, like trying to go through just the main levels, there's like 80,000 side quests that pop up, and you're like, just leave me
There are.
alone. I'm trying to do the main stuff. Leave me alone. But
Yeah.
it looks pretty. So I'm
It
like so
does.
torn on the game. Like I feel like Yakuza is going to show up tomorrow and I'll never touch it again. But maybe
Right.
I'll go back to it. I don't know. Are you going to keep playing it?
I'm gonna keep playing it. I don't know what it
Okay.
is, man. I don't know what it is. I'm like you. The story
Yep.
is where I think Obsidian missed.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care. I
Mm-hmm.
don't care at all. I mash through every conversation unless I get, when you're like spamming through a conversation and then you get a hint by slightly seeing the dialogue you're going
Yep.
through that maybe I should slow down because there might be an important decision coming up.
Yep.
That's the only thing I do. I'm like, wait a minute. They said let her go or let her free or whatever.
Yep.
Like I don't really care about the story. They're not the most they're not going to be the most memorable companions for me when we think of like other companions, like even a game that's similar and different, like a Baldur's Gate or like
Dragon
I don't
Age.
know, Dragon Age, even
Yep.
yeah, in more
Yep.
recent memory. But I just want to get back to the combat and exploring the world because the world is actually pretty cool.
Yeah. It looks nice. It's done well. I like
It
that
looks
it's
nice.
not open world. It's,
Yeah,
a little
it
bit
is
more
sections,
confined. Yeah,
and it works. And
it does.
I'm in the second area. I've been putting a little couple hours into this one, and
Mm-hmm.
the second area is I kind of want to see what the third one's going to be now because I like the second area and every world kind of has its own distinction. It does have its problems, and believe it or not, you can still scroll through all of the dialogue and still see. Like that's where I think Avowed is good, is it shows you the problems.
Yeah.
Like, like in the first area, I know that they're not allowing certain refugees into the walled city. And then
Yep.
I was walking around and I saw a tent and I saw 3 spiders and I killed them all. And then I saw a note that I didn't fully read, but as I was clicking very fast through it, I saw at least I'll be safe. And I was
Yeah.
like, they weren't. I know what's happening here. This person was a refugee. They were standing outside the walls. They died because the world is a terrible place.
Yep.
And there's a shanty town in that area that tells me exactly where all the other refugees have gone. Like there's things that the world tells me by just me walking around.
Yep.
And the inventory is interesting. I was one of the ones that learned probably a little later than others that it's really about upgrading your inventory. Like, yeah, you
Yep.
could throw some points that you get when you gain a level, but you're right, levels don't mean anything.
No, they don't.
Like I was upgrading my levels and like putting it in certain spots and I was getting rocked by these people. I went back to my camp and I upgraded my stuff one level and I was all of a sudden it was easier. Like all of a sudden out of
It,
nowhere.
um. So the camps. This is something you just reminded me of. The camp portion of things where there's like these big giant like crystals out in the world, and you can camp there. And when you camp there, you can upgrade. You can talk to your party members, all that kind of stuff. And there's something in there that I would call, probably I'm going to call it the persona problem, is that when you like I'm not the person, if I go to a camp, I'm not going to talk to the people there because it's all stupid nonsense. But I did one time, and you know what I found out as I was mashing through the dialogue is I got upgrades to my stats when I was
Yeah.
done. And I was like, wait, hold on a minute. Don't do that to me. Don't make me sit here and listen to this guy talk for 10 minutes to get,
Right.
a +2 on something. Don't do that. And they don't even
Right.
tell you. It's like hidden. It's like halfway through a dialogue option. It's like, hey, do you want me to teach you something? What?
Yeah.
It's a persona thing, right? Like talk to your people to build your bond, raise your
Yeah.
level, that kind of stuff. I get it, but I don't like it. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't
It's
want
just
to be in that camp anymore. I just want to upgrade and leave. That's it.
it's just more talking. Yeah. I'm the same as you too. I went the magic route. I'm doing like a spell blade kind of thing.
Sure.
So I have the other cool thing that I'm not sure you mentioned. I'm not sure, but you have two loadouts that you can switch just by
Mhm.
pushing triangle or Y respectively, depending on what system you're using.
Yep.
Oh wait, sorry. Is this on PlayStation as well, or is this just Xbox
Not at the
exclusive?
moment.
Not
Not at
yet.
the moment.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So let me backtrack. Yeah, so you press Y, you can go between loadouts. So what I have is I have a spell blade, a grimoire, and I had to use the pistol because they've got like
Yeah.
guns in this game,
Pistol's
which is
cool.
great.
Mhm.
So I have that, and then my other loadout is a shield and an axe. So like if they get up close and everything, I have something to block with, and
Cool.
I love it. I love it. It's very very interesting in terms of what you can do with your characters, and I don't know. That I think that's what they've made work. You're right at the sluggish aspect of the combat, but
Yep.
yet I still kind of want to go and see what the next red enemy dot is
Yeah.
on my screen. I want to explore the world. I want to see this area. You're right. Not being open world takes the anxiety out of just running around because pretty soon you end up finding everything in the section of that you're in, and you could choose whether or not you want to do that.
Yep.
And like I went to the second area and I left 3 bounties from the first area. I was like, I'm
Mhm.
not doing those bounties. I should see what the rest of the game's like. So it's not. I know I already said this about Pirate, but this is not going to be game of the year.
No.
But I'm having more fun with it than I thought.
I don't even think it'll be top 10 if I finish it, unless
I don't.
something drastically changes. But as a February filler, you could do worse,
You could, you
honestly.
could. And here's the thing that I'll say: I'm not going to make a bold claim like I sometimes do here, but I don't think it's going to be in my top 10. But I, for some reason, think I'm going to finish it. I think
Yeah,
somewhere
that's
in
fair.
this year, I think it's gonna. I think I'm just going to chip away at it.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, we think about February filler, and we got Monster Hunter Wilds this week coming
Yeah.
out, so be prepared, everyone.
First leaked review was a 10 out of 10.
Oh, was it? I didn't
Yeah.
see that. I didn't
Yep.
see that.
Oh,
Okay, I didn't see that.
doggy!
There you go.
Probably a potential game of the year there, right, Bear?
For
At
you
least
We'll
on our
guys,
see.
list.
not for
Have to
me.
see. Have to see.
Yep.
Lastly is going to be movies and TV shows,
Yep.
where I haven't gone to see the new Captain America movie, unfortunately, but I have started watching the new season of Reacher.
Ooh, me too. Reacher is back, baby. I did see Captain America, and I also watched One of Them Days.
All right. Well, I have like 3 series that I think I've already spoken on that I'm trying to finish. I don't know. My wife and I were watching True Blood, but I don't even know if I need to recap that on here. I think everybody's seen that. True Blood's great. Watch it. There you go. That's
There you
it.
go.
You guys have at it.
So I guess we'll start with Reacher, and then I'll let
Sure.
Craig take the reins there. It's kind of hard to say something that hasn't been said about Reacher. Alan Richardson, I just love this TV show.
Yep.
It's fun because it's not only the fun action. There's this very sense of dry humor and very quick comebackness that I like about it. Yes, it's very much action and watching a huge, well, I shouldn't say just huge. He is a gigantic man. Kind of solving issues and finding a way into trouble. A lot, this dude has like the worst luck of all time. He just finds his way into these, criminal underground rings and things like that. But it's just still fun to watch. I don't know if I'll ever get tired of this. I know they talk about uh, the actor Alan Richardson, they're making a new season apparently of Blue Mountain State, which
That would
that
be
is
awesome.
that is going to be very
Yes.
interesting to see
Yeah.
if
Yes,
I get to see if
please.
I can still watch that. But
Love that show.
but just overall, it's only the first 3 episodes that are out right now,
Yep.
and I just like it, and we'll let you know more as we go along here. The biggest thing that I didn't like about season 2 is the ending. The season 2 ending I thought was kind of left on a dour note. I don't like. I thought the villain was good, but I kind of wanted him, and I hate to say it, I wanted him to suffer more. Like Alan Richardson's
Yep.
character does not care. Like if you have if there's a vendetta, he's gonna get it on you, and he'll make you suffer. So I was just expecting that to happen, and it didn't the last season. So call me a weirdo. I don't care. I'm gonna keep watching this series.
Yeah, it's that first episode is like perfect. It just draws you right back in.
Yep.
I don't know, like I feel like I'm trying to watch all these movies, but I feel like I'm just like TV is just eating right now because Reacher's back, The Pit is incredible, Paradise is incredible, Yellow Jackets is back. Like we're just eating right now on TV. It's making it hard for me to watch movies.
Right.
Especially when they do that. Here's 3 episodes. I'm like, it's
I
better
know.
it's better when there's one at a time because then I can be like, okay, cool.
Right.
Monday I'll watch Reacher. Thursday is The Pit, and I think Tuesday is Paradise, so I can like plan my weekend nights out. But yeah, they I wasn't sure where they were going with that first episode of Reacher, but when the episode ended, I had to do the slow clap, like well done. That's a great way to start a new season. Just incredible. I will also take 8 seasons of Reacher if they want. Let him play it till he's like 60 years old. I don't care.
Love it.
Okay, so go ahead.
Just before you mentioned that, I thought I kind of, speaking of buff dudes, which made me think about Henry Cavill, which then made me think about like the slight news that Amazon MGM Studios now has sole control of James Bond.
Yes.
I almost forgot about that. So hopefully we get new James Bond stuff. I'm a big fan of the more recent James Bonds. I just hope that the main reason it made me think of buff dudes and Henry Cavill is because people want Henry Cavill to play the next.
Yeah,
James
they
Bond.
do.
You think he could pull it off though?
I saw that too, Barry.
I really wanted Idris Elba.
Well,
seriously,
that's the thing. I like the fact. I kind of like what both of them can do. I think Idris Elba does a better job of being the suave, stealthy James Bond. Where if we're watching Henry Cavill, I feel like we're just getting Mission Impossible Henry Cavill, Argyle Henry Cavill. Like it's going to be difficult to make him this stealthy guy when the dude's shoulders are the size of door frames. So,
right.
And we've already done brute James Bond. That was Daniel Craig.
Yeah. That was Daniel Craig.
Daniel Craig though kind of had like the skinnier build, which kind of gave him the stealthy sort of experience to him. Either way, like I just want more of it. I just would like to have James Bond and the cool Aston Martin. Bring back the cool gadgets.
Do you think they do movies or shows, TV shows?
I think we do movies. Like we're kind of getting into it, and it's one of those things too. Peacock had Jackal this year. Jackal's a really good James Bond type movie. TV show. I just want James Bond again with all of the other things that come with it. So
okay, that's
fair. I was pulling for Idris too, though. Yeah, I mean he would be like more of the like a Sean Connery style, I think, and like that gruff kind of delivery too with the suaveness. I don't know. I don't want to compare those.
He's getting older though.
Yeah.
I mean, he could still do it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm okay with 007 being a woman too. Like that's fine. I just that I want that back.
Yeah, bring the concept back. Bring 007 just back.
Who would you pick though for a female lead, Barry? For James Bond.
Who was it in No Time to Die? Give me one
Oh my god, yeah.
Because she was the new 007. And I thought she did very well. And the reason I did mention that is because she's also in Jackal.
Yeah. So she's already doing it. Okay. Yeah, that would be a good pick. Either or. I mean, any of those 3, I'd be fine with Henry Cavill. I do agree. I think he's too big.
We also had Ana de Armas in No Time to Die as well. but she's getting her ballerina movie from the John Wick universe. So
Oh,
That's
okay.
true. She is. Yep. She's going to be John Wick. Okay. Captain America,
Let's
Brave New
go.
World. First and foremost, this thing is just getting torched
yeah,
online
it is.
review wise. So first and foremost, y'all need to calm down. Because all I kept seeing was like, this movie sucks, Marvel sucks, they don't know what they're doing anymore. I actually think it's a pretty good movie, to be fair. What I appreciated the most about this movie, and I'm not going to spoil anything, is there has been so many untied loose ends throughout Marvel movies of like characters and villains and things that happen that they never do anything with. And they tie up so many things in this movie that I was like, oh my God, yeah, that, and that. You know what I mean? Like they just keep bringing stuff back. And they're like, hey, remember when we saw this in Eternals and we didn't do anything with it? Now we are. That kind of stuff. Like I appreciate them trying to bring it all back together before we get to the Avengers. And they do mention the Avengers in this movie, which I think is awesome. So we're starting to get to where we need to be, which is these movies should not be standalone movies anymore. We should be incorporating them in the Avengers universe. And it's nice to see them start to do that. Uh, Harrison Ford, I love Harrison Ford to death. And like, man, he kills it in this movie. Just absolutely kills it. Um, I just, man, he works. He's played a president before, Air Force One, right?
Yes, that's one of my favorite movies of
Yes.
his. Actually,
Yes.
I
And
love that movie.
it's nice to see him like in that role again. Like there's a moment where they're like they're on a ship in like a like a naval battle, and just hearing him like in the control room being like fire torpedoes, I was like, it reminds me of Air Force One, and just made me happy.
Right.
Just old school Harrison Ford, and like obviously it's not a surprise, but like Red Hulk, him turning into Red Hulk is cool. Did not see the actual villain coming. I had to like look it up, and I'm like, where did he come from? Oh yeah, that's right, from this movie 15 years ago, this Marvel movie that I totally forgot about. But overall, it's definitely a step in the right direction. It's not old school Captain America Winter Soldier good, but it's good. I'll definitely
Okay.
watch it again. It makes me more excited for where they're going. We got Thunderbolts coming out later this year as well, which ties into this as well. So there's just a lot going on that makes me excited to see Marvel movies again, because I have not been excited in a hot minute.
Yeah.
And also we have Daredevil coming out,
Yeah.
which is going to be phenomenal. So yeah, that gets a 2 thumbs up for me. One of them days though, this movie
I
might
was.
sneak into my top 10 this year.
I'm so glad you're saying that because Leanne and I are excited to watch this one.
Keke Palmer, SZA.
Yep.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
it's hilarious. I just enjoy like stupid comedies that just revolve around the dumbest things. Like literally the entirety of this movie is their Keke Palmer and SZA's characters live together in an apartment, and Keke Palmer's character gave her rent money to SZA's character, and she gave it to her boyfriend who lives with them, and he didn't pay the rent. That's it. And they're just looking to find money before they get evicted. That's the entirety of the movie. But it doesn't matter. Like if the comedy's there, the dumbest of, plots work, and it works. All the characters are incredible. The people who show up that you would not expect to be there, who have like little cameos, are phenomenal. Just incredibly well done. I obviously don't want to give too much away because that's the whole point of the movie, is just like the hijinks and all that, but just insanely well done. Go see it 100%. I think you can rent it right now, I believe.
Okay. Yeah. I think so.
Okay.
But it's probably like
Okay.
$20 or whatever. But yeah, it's definitely worth the $20 if that's the cost.
What can we just bring back more movies that either happen over the course of one day or have one singular reason why all the characters are going through wacky and wild hijinks, like not paying rent.
Yep.
That's like, it reminds me of I like one of my favorite movies from when I was young was Friday.
That's literally what I thought of while I was watching this movie. I was like, this
Yeah.
is Friday, and I love it.
Yeah. Happens over the course of one day.
Yep.
A Friday, I think it was it was over the course of literally one day, hence the name Friday. So
Yep.
like that concept is actually where some gold comes out of in terms of movies. So
Yep. And
I'm
I
glad you
like
liked it.
they try every once in a while, but like every couple of years, one will hit. Like one will land, and you're like, there it is. And this is definitely one of them. So, yeah, it's only February, so it's hard to say. But as of right now, I'm like, man, this is probably firmly in a top 10 for now. There's a lot of movies that come out, but it might hang around.
And then just before we sign off here,
Sure.
Craig, you had mentioned about the SNL 50 anniversary show that had the
Hmm.
music and stuff like that. So I watched the 3 hour show, especially after everything. Let me just make this clear. The first hour and a half is funny. The rest of it I just thought to be very boring and poor.
Mm.
There's this whole musical section that I thought was boring. I don't know, like when they're being funny in the skits, I think it was good,
Yeah.
but it's a 3 hour thing where
It
the
is.
latter half of it is just on what, like, I don't care anymore. This is like, it is boring. It is not funny. It's, I don't know. It's just strange. Like, I don't know. They so many times just go away from what's funny.
Yeah, and the funny thing too about that, the funny thing about that too is like they have a pretty strong finish in terms of performances. Like it's like Jack White,
Yeah.
Cher, like the ending is like they have like 3 or 4 performances in a row, and you're like, dang, 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 So it does. I looked at it. I know when my wife and I turned it on, we were kind of like, how is this 4 hours?
Yeah.
Like that's just it passes that attention span of average American length. But you're right. Not in, like I don't know. I was there more so for some of the performances, especially even some of the people I didn't necessarily like. I wasn't fans of, but yeah, you're right. Some of the things did not land.
Yeah. But all right. Well, what does land is the end of the podcast. Lands every
Boom,
time. It's always there.
boom.
I want to thank everybody for listening. If you're listening on your podcast platform of choice, please sure to do so. Follow us, give us a rating if you feel so inclined. Share it on social media. If you're watching on YouTube, please make sure to like and subscribe. Comment below on what you hope gets announced at the Pokemon Showcase that comes out on the 27th. We also have a Reddit if you're
Yep.
interested. Please make sure to follow. Just look up High Sensitivity Gaming. On there, you'll see the logo that is also followed with our X page. So just keep that in mind. I think Reddit is a good place for news, and it's really easy to post news if you're looking to keep up with the current events of gaming. With that being said, I always appreciate all the support we get on all listening platforms and all video streaming platforms. You all enjoy the week, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye, guys.
See you.